this video discusses bullying and disability discrimination, but has a powerfully positive ending. The sun painted the Santa Monica Pier in shades of gold that Saturday afternoon, casting long shadows across the weathered wooden planks where millions of dreams had walked before. The Pacific Ocean whispered its ancient songs, and the Ferris wheel turned lazily against an impossibly blue sky, a picture-perfect scene that would soon become the backdrop for an extraordinary demonstration of humanity's capacity for both cruelty and breathtaking compassion. 14-year-old Maya Rodriguez never asked to be different. Born with cerebral palsy that confined her to a wheelchair, she had spent her entire life navigating a world that wasn't built for her. But on this particular day, with the salt air tangling in her long, dark hair, and excitement dancing in her eyes, she felt something she rarely experienced: pure, unbridled joy. Her mother, Alina, had saved 4 months to take Maya to the pier, promising her daughter a day of cotton candy clouds, carnival games, and the kind of normalcy that seemed always just out of reach. Maya's wheelchair gleamed in the sunlight, decorated with rainbow stickers she'd carefully placed herself, each one representing a dream, a hope, a piece of her vibrant spirit that refused to be dimmed by circumstance. Her smile could light up the darkest room, and today it was radiant as she watched children race past, their laughter mixing with the mechanical music of the carousel. But not everyone sees beauty where it exists. 3 teenage boys, their faces twisted with the kind of ignorance that breeds hatred, had been watching Maya. At 16 and 17, they should have known better. They should have been raised better. But cruelty doesn't require a reason. It only requires an audience and a victim. Move, cripple. The words cut through the festive atmosphere like a blade through silk. The tallest boy, wearing a designer hoodie that spoke of privilege he didn't deserve, stepped directly into Maya's path. His friends flanked him, their smartphones already recording, hungry for content that would make them feel powerful at someone else's expense. Elena's protective instinct flared immediately. She moved to shield her daughter, but the boys were faster, more aggressive. One of them kicked Maya's wheelchair, not hard enough to tip it, but hard enough to terrify, hard enough to humiliate. "Can't even walk?" another sneered, his voice dripping with venom. "What are you even doing here? This place is for normal people." Maya's hands trembled on her wheelchair's armrests. Tears began to pool in her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. She'd heard words like these before, had felt the sting of being treated as less than human, but it never got easier. The laughter of the bullies echoed around them, and Maya could feel the eyes of strangers, some looking away in discomfort, others pulling out phones to record, but no one intervening. Elena's voice shook with rage and fear. "Leave my daughter alone. What's wrong with you?" The boys only laughed harder, emboldened by the crowd's inaction. One of them reached out to push the wheelchair again. That's when the sound began. At first, it was distant, a low rumble that seemed to rise from the earth itself. Then it grew louder, deeper, more powerful. The distinctive roar of motorcycle engines, dozens of them, approaching in perfect synchronization. The wooden planks of the pier began to vibrate with the approaching thunder. The bullies hesitated, their confidence faltering as the sound grew overwhelming. Then they appeared. Like something from a modern-day fairy tale, a sea of motorcycles rolled onto the pier, chrome gleaming, leather jackets bearing patches of brotherhood and honor. The Guardians MC, a veterans motorcycle club known throughout California for their charity work and fierce protection of the vulnerable, had been hosting a rally nearby. Word of the confrontation had reached them through a bystander's frantic phone call, and they had mobilized instantly. The bikes formed a perfect circle around Maya and Alina, creating a barrier of steel, leather, and unwavering human decency. The engines cut off in unison, and suddenly the pier was silent except for the ocean's eternal rhythm. From the lead motorcycle stepped Marcus Bear Thompson, a mountain of a man whose scarred hands told stories of battles fought overseas and whose eyes held the kind of gentle strength that only true warriors possess. His salt-tanned pepper beard framed a face etched with both hardship and profound kindness. Behind him, men and women, veterans, all dismounted with military precision, their leather cuts adorned with patches reading "Freedom is unfree and protect the innocent." Bear walked directly to the bullies, who suddenly looked very small and very young. His voice, when he spoke, was quiet but carried the weight of absolute authority. "Gentlemen, I believe you owe this young lady an apology." The tallest bully's bravado crumbled. His face paled as he realized he was surrounded by people who had faced real enemies, who had stood in the face of genuine danger, and who had zero tolerance for cowards who preyed on the vulnerable. We were just," he stammered. "You were just leaving," Bear said, his tone making it clear this wasn't a suggestion. "After you apologized to Maya and her mother. And after you delete whatever garbage you recorded on those phones." The bikers said nothing, but their presence spoke volumes. These were men and women who had defended freedom, who understood the true meaning of strength, and who recognized that real courage meant protecting those who couldn't protect themselves. The apologies came, mumbled and shamefaced. The phone videos were deleted under watchful eyes. And then the bullies were escorted off the pier by 2 police officers who had arrived. Their heads hung low. Their day of entertainment turned into a lesson they would never forget. But the magic was only beginning. As the crowd that had gathered began to applaud, Bear knelt beside Maya's wheelchair, his weathered face level with hers. The tough veteran's eyes glistened with emotion. "You know what I see when I look at you?" he asked gently. Maya shook her head, still overwhelmed by what had just happened. "I see strength," Bear said. "Real strength. The kind that wakes up every day and faces a world that doesn't make things easy and still finds reasons to smile. I spent 20 years in the military, saw things that would break most people, and I'm telling you, you're tougher than any soldier I've ever met." Tears flowed freely down Maya's face now, but they were different tears. Healing tears. What happened next would become the stuff of Santa Monica legend. The Guardian's MC declared Maya their honorary member. They presented her with a custom leather jacket sized perfectly for her, with patches that read Guardian Angel and Warrior Princess. But more than that, they gave her something no amount of money could buy: belonging. "Today's your day, Princess," Bear announced to the gathered crowd, which had grown to hundreds. "And we're going to make it the best day of your life." And they did. The bikers took over the pier, not with violence or intimidation, but with pure, infectious joy. They won Maya every stuffed animal at the carnival games, their competitive spirit turning it into a hilarious spectacle. A line of tough, tattooed veterans taking turns at the basketball toss, the ring toss, the milk bottle pyramid, each determined to win something special for their newest member. They bought enough cotton candy to fill a small store, creating a pink canned blue cloud that made Maya giggle until she couldn't breathe. They rode the Ferris wheel with her, the massive bikers cramming into the small gondolas, making jokes, and telling stories that had Maya laughing so hard she forgot every cruel word ever spoken to her. But the most magical moment came as the sun began to set. The Guardians formed 2 lines on the pier, creating a pathway with their motorcycles. Bear lifted Maya gently from her wheelchair with Alina's permission and Maya's delighted consent and placed her on his massive bike. Alina rode behind them, her arms wrapped around both her daughter and the stranger who had become their guardian angel. Then, with Maya wearing her new leather jacket and the biggest smile California had ever seen, they rode. The entire motorcycle club, with Maya and Bear in the lead, cruised down the Pacific Coast Highway as the sun painted the ocean in shades of amber and gold. Other motorists honked and waved. Pedestrians cheered. And Maya Rodriguez, the girl who had been told she didn't belong, led a parade of heroes who knew differently. The video of the confrontation and the beautiful response went viral within hours. But it wasn't the bullying that captured the world's attention, it was the response. Images of tough bikers winning carnival prizes for a disabled girl, of Maya's radiant smile as she wore her guardian angel jacket, of humanity choosing kindness over cruelty, were shared millions of times. The three boys who had started it all faced consequences at school and at home. But more importantly, they learned a lesson that no classroom could teach: that strength is unmeasured by who you can hurt, but by who you choose to protect. Maya's story sparked a movement. The Guardians MC started a program called Maya's Angels, pairing disabled children with biker mentors who would ensure they never felt alone or unprotected. Lots of motorcycle clubs across the country joined the initiative. The Santa Monica Pier installed a memorial plaque commemorating the day that kindness conquered cruelty. Today, Maya is 17. She's an advocate for disability rights, a public speaker, and a fierce voice for those who are bullied. She still wears her guardian angel jacket, now adorned with even more patches from motorcycle clubs around the world who have adopted her cause. And every year on the anniversary of that fateful day, hundreds of bikers gather at Santa Monica Pier for Maya's ride, a celebration of courage, compassion, and the extraordinary things that happen when ordinary people decide that enough is enough. Because on that golden Saturday afternoon at Santa Monica Pier, the world learned a truth that Maya had always known. Real disability is unfound in legs that do unwalk or bodies that do unwork the way society expects. Real disability is found in hearts that can't feel compassion, in minds that can't recognize the inherent worth in every human being. And sometimes, just sometimes, angels wear leather jackets and ride motorcycles. The ocean still whispers its ancient songs at Santa Monica Pier. The Ferris wheel still turns against the endless sky. But now among the millions of footsteps and wheel tracks that cross those weathered planks, there's a story that proves the world can be cruel, but it can also be breathtakingly beautiful when we choose to see each other as humanity. Maya's message to anyone who has ever felt different, diminished, or defeated is simple but profound. You are not alone. You are not less than. You are exactly who you're meant to be. And somewhere out there, there are people who will see your worth, who will stand beside you, who will be your thunder when you need it most. Sometimes the cavalry arrives wearing leather and riding steel horses. And sometimes a moment of darkness becomes the spark that illuminates thousands of lives with hope, proving that humanity's capacity for compassion will always outshine its capacity for cruelty. The Santa Monica miracle wasn't really about bikers rescuing a girl. It was about all of us remembering what we're supposed to be: guardians of each other, protectors of the vulnerable, and believers in the radical idea that every person, regardless of ability, appearance, or circumstance, deserves to feel the joy of belonging.